Beruchim habayim. Welcome everyone to another session of our Wednesday night class. For everyone in Hollywood, thank you for joining again. For everyone in the community, we hope you enjoy and be mahazek and listen to as much Torah as you can. This week's parashiyot are matot mas'eh. These parashiyot, specifically mas'eh, speaks about something very intriguing, and that is the different journeys and the different wanderings of the Jewish nation. No less than 42 places the Jews went to, and the Jews went to all these places for a reason, right? You might think it's a schlep. Where are they going? But we know that Torah does not put any extra pisukim, and they wrote down, Hashem wrote in the Torah, no less than 49 pisukim just on these different journeys and wanderings through the Sinai desert. And it begs the question, what's the reason? Why are these important? Now, there are many explanations, many mefarshim that get involved. What's the reason why Hashem thought it was important to put in the Torah these journeys? There are some chachamim that want to say the 42 is corresponding to the 42 letter name of Hashem. The Khatam Sofer brings down that every one of the names is a different spiritual level that the Jews got. For example, there was a place called Hatzerot, courtyards. And he explains that at that point in time, at that moment, the Jews understood that this world is like a courtyard. And the grand palace is in Olam Haba. He says there's a place called Kirot HaTaiva, which literally means burial of desire. And at that moment, they were able to confront their issue and their Yetzer Hara of desire, of illicit things. So everything was actually there for a reason. But the most important thing to understand is that the journey is what brings you to that destination, but it's not only about getting to the destination, it's the journey itself. The journey is a test. We're all put in this world to be tested. Nisyonot. We're here to accomplish, we're here to succeed, we're here to come up to Shemaim and say, God, we did it. But how do we get there? We got to climb the mountain. And it's about climbing. It's all about the climb. Once you reach the top, it's a beautiful view. But it's about getting to that destination. And that's what these journeys were all about. Rav Shimshon Raphael Hirsch, he says that if you look in the Pasuk says something very interesting. It speaks about two different types of journeys. Pasuk says, אלה מסעי בני ישראל אשר יצאו מארץ מצרים לצבאותם ביד משה ואהרון. These are the journeys of the Bnei Israel who went forth from the land of Mitzrayim. The next pasuk says, ויכתוב משה את מוצאיהם למסעיהם על פי אדוני ואלה מסעיהם למוצאיהם. The next pasuk says, and Moshe wrote the going forth of the Bnei Israel according to their journeys. And you see something interesting. It changes the Lashon. First, the pasuk says they're going forth according to their journeys, and these were the journeys according to their going forth. It says it in two opposite ways. And Rav Shimshon Raphael Hirsch explains, he says there's different attitudes among Jewish people. Some just want to reach the top. They want to go. They're waiting for the horizon. They see the horizon in the distance. They want to get to that horizon. But the closer you get to it, the further away this horizon actually is. And there are other people who simply want the journey. They want to go through it. They want to go through these motions. The Sfat Emet brings down that these 42 places offered a unique challenge to the Jewish people. Each one was a different nisayon that they had to pass. That's why there were 42 encampments, for these 42 nisyonot, because God was teaching us that every moment of every second of every day of every week of every year is a test. Everything we do is a nisayon. Whether we're going to do good or bad, right or wrong, whether we're going to say this, we're not going to say this, it's all a test. And we have the free will and the understanding to take that test and pass it. So we go to the next one. We find by Avraham Avinu. What's the reason why Avraham tested him so much? Because he loved him. He wanted to bring out his potential. He wanted him to be the greatest ever, so he tested him again and again and again, and that's why he loved him so much. The same thing with the Jews. He put them from encampment to encampment, midbar, in the midbar, to this place, to that place, all to test the Jews. Now for us, as we embark on different journeys that we all have, right? We want to have the most beautiful lives. We want to create a tapestry. We want our tombstone to say something that matters. We have to be focused about getting to that goal and accomplishing and making it. But don't forget what we're here for. It's to go through that journey. And that journey is supposed to be enjoyable also. It's supposed to be something that we wake up every day and we say we want to be Oved Hashem. Itgaber Ka'ari. The Torah going through these 42 journeys is quite interesting. Because we even see it from the fact that what was the whole point of going through the Midbar? To get to Eretz Yisrael. To get to the chosen land. And then it takes its lens. The Torah takes the lens and he moves the focus and it goes towards the focus of the journeys. Again, because Hashem is showing us that just like I do everything for a reason, I do everything to give you test after test so that you should accomplish, so that when you make it to the end, you make it to Eretz Yisrael, it's that much more important. We all know the famous question, why didn't God just make us perfect? Why didn't he just make us like Malachim and give us schar? No. You can't do that because we're going to be embarrassed to take the reward after. We're not going to take it. We didn't do anything. The same thing over here. You want something good, you have to work for it. You have to fight for it. It has to mean something to you. Rav Noach Weinberg always used to say, you want to know the meaning of life? Find out what you would die for and live for it. That's what the meaning of life is. What are we living for? Day in, day out. Do we ever think about what we're doing? Do we ever think that every moment is a test? That God is testing us what we're going to do at that exact moment? Will we be angry? Will we not be angry? Will we be happy? Will we be jealous? Will we be... Whatever it is that a person is struggling with or going through his life or anything that's happening outside. Different occurrences. There's a beautiful Rav Kook who says something amazing. Rav Kook says that when a person leaves his or her comfort zone, the place where they feel stable, they feel stationary, they feel guarded. When he leaves or she leaves that place, and they go onto a new journey, whether it's a relationship or whether it's a job or whether it's living in a different area or whether it's a school or anything it is, we tend to get afraid and our inner core starts to stir. We get nervous. They say that one of the biggest fears is change. Why? Because you're so used to something, I don't know anything else. I remember when Arafat, when he was dying, when he died, they were very afraid. Because even though Arafat was a terrible person, Yamach Shemam, but they understood him. They knew who he was. They don't know who the next guy is. Maybe he's going to be less, more, but they don't understand the person yet. But that's what the journey is. There's a famous story that Spiro brings down. He says a story about Charlie from Chicago. Charlie was a person who went to shul every week. He did what he had to do. He didn't keep any mitzvot. One day the rabbi comes up to him and says, Charlie, why don't you start learning Torah more? Why don't you do something else? And Charlie says, Rabbi, you know what? You're right. Tell me something to do. Pick something and I'll do it. He says, keep kosher. Charlie says, okay, I'm going to keep kosher, but I can't do it today. It has to start tomorrow. Why? He said because there's a store called, there's a store in Chicago called Superdog. And they have the best hot dogs in the world. And I just need to have one more. I just need one more hot dog and I'll be good. The rabbi says, okay. Whatever you have to do. You know, you take what you can get. So he goes the next day. He goes into this Superdog. And he gets the hot dog and he gets it with all the toppings and all the condiments. And he's ready to bite into it. He puts it on the table. And a person, a distinguished looking fellow, walks in, sits near him on the other side. And he sees that Charlie's starting to drool. He says, wow, you really like these hot dogs? He says, oh, I love them. They're the best things in the world. And he says, but this will be my last one. And the man sitting across from him says, why is it your last one? So he didn't want to explain to him, because I keep kosher, because I'm Jewish, because things like that. My rabbi says, so he just says, I can't afford it anymore. And the man says, far be it from me to see someone who loves these hot dogs so much not eat them. He pulls out of his pocket a certificate that said, you can have a lifetime supply of hot dogs from Superdog. Wow. He's the owner. The owner's sitting near him. You can have a lifetime supply. He doesn't know what to do. He says, Hashem, what are you doing? You put me into this situation. I take my bite of the hot dog, and then this person gives it to me. Maybe you don't want me to do it anymore. Maybe you really want me to start eating the Superdogs. So what does he do? He goes to the rabbi. And the rabbi says to him something amazing. He said, you thought that you were on the level to give up eating Superdogs. God knows you are strong enough to give up eating Superdogs for life. Charlie gets a lot of chizuk from this. He takes that certificate, he frames it, and he puts it in his house to always remember. See, but that is exactly what we're talking about. That's a test. That's a nisayon that a person has. And God sees, you know what, you're doing good. You want to do good? Let's see how good you actually are. Let's see how much you can actually do. You thought you can be this good. Let's see if we can push you a little bit on top of that. Let's see if we can make you into something greater. And that's what God does. Yed tug. He does it all the time. We know, we said this once before, that when the Jews left Mitzrayim, they're walking through the desert. They're going through the Midbar, and the rabbis ask, why does God bring them through the Midbar? Just give them the Torah, bring them to Eretz Yisrael. What is he waiting for? And they explain that at that moment, they were on a high. They were on top of the world. They had the Makot, they had the Yam Suf, they had everything. God's going to say, you want the Torah? Give it to me. For sure, I'll take it. So what does he do? He puts them in a desert where there's nothing there. It's desolate. It's cold. It's dirty. And then he says, now I'm going to put you here for a little bit, and let's see if you like it. Let's see if you're going to go and accept the Torah after this. And what did they do? They said, Na'aseh v'nishma. God put you through that test to see how much emunah you have, how much faith, how much compassion. The pasuk says, Chayim kulechem hayom. Rabbi Elbaz asks an amazing question. He says, why does it say hayom? Why hayom? Why today? And he says the Shulchan Aruch brings down a halacha that if a bird falls from the sky and you don't know if it's kasher or it's not kasher, you don't know if it's kosher or not, so what do? You take it, you put it in the water. If it could swim against the current, then it's kosher. If it can't swim, then you know it's not kosher. And Rabbi Elbaz, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, the old Rosh Yeshiva of Detroit, he says also us, if we can swim against all the craziness in this world and we don't change who we are, then not only will we be alive in Olam Haba, we're going to be alive today, Hayom, in Olam Hazeh. Which is a very difficult thing, because everything we do matters and everything we do is a test. And to go against the tide in such a way when everything's so prevalent, so easy. They bring down that we see nowadays, in a day walking in Manhattan, you could see more than they saw in the shtetl by the Hafetz Chaim in a lifetime. I recently heard from someone who told me Rav Chaim Kanievsky said that Bachurim in yeshiva now are greater than Rabbi Kiva Eger. Why? Because he didn't have all these things. We have everything to push us away. God is taking every nisayon, every test he has, and he's throwing it on us right now. And he's saying, okay, I want to bring Mashiach already. Let me just get this over with. He's taking the guf with all the neshamot. He's taking it out. He's taking all the people who have not well children, and he's taking them out because he wants them to just go, so I can bring Mashiach. These are all the tests that we have. And my grandfather, Zecher Tzadik Livracha Chacham Tzion Maslaton, he said a very similar thing. He brings down in his sefer something beautiful. In the Gemara in Kiddushin, Chavtet Amud Aleph says that a father is mechuyav, a father is obligated to teach his son 3 things. And then the 4th thing was af lashito b'mayim, also to teach him how to swim. And he says, of course it means to teach them how to swim. It means literally, because that's what the Gemara says, but it doesn't only mean that. And Cham Tzion says it means that when the tide of the modern world is coming to take you under, do you know how to swim? Can you fight against that? That's what it means to teach them how to swim. Nowadays we don't have boats anymore. We don't have ships. You don't have to teach them how to swim because of that. That's not the way of route, of journey. Oh, but to teach them how to swim against the tides of time, teaching us and pushing us towards all the terrible things in the world, that's something to teach them. And that's what it means. You have to teach a kid how to fight against the world who tells you that you're wrong. When you have 7.7 billion people in the world saying, no, the Jews are not correct. And you have 14.4 million people who are sticking to their faith, sticking to what they believe in. That's difficult. And out of that, how many are religious? And out of that, how many are B'nai Torah? How many are listening to a class? A couple 100,000. It's nothing. This is what's holding up the world. It's fighting against the modern times, teaching us to do wrong and making it okay. And they stuff it down your throat. It's liberalism. They stuff it down your throat time and time again. Someone was telling me, a relative of mine told me that I've never seen it, but there's a commercial on television about the wedding rings, and now they show that the man's giving a man a wedding ring. Oh, very nice. So if a person never saw it before, it's terrible. It's disgusting. How can this be the world that we live in? But if you see it once, and then you see it twice, you see it 10 times, all of a sudden, okay, fine. Let them do what they want. Then you understand it a little more. You're getting numb to it. We get numb to these things. We take it for granted that we're going to be strong in what we believe in, but it's not how it works. When Esav came in and sold the Bechor to Yaakov Avinu, his brother, for a pot of lentil soup, he gave up eternity. He gave up something that's forever, that's infinite. As the rabbis say, you have a bird that takes 1 grain of sand and puts it in the ocean. Every 1,000 years, when you finish all that sand, you still didn't come to a drop in the bucket of what Olam Haba is, what eternity is, how great it's going to be. And you have Esav who gave away everything for something fleeting. But it's a Musar Haskell for us. There are so many times where we're tired, we're not in the mood. We give up important relationships. We give up important moments instead of capitalizing on them. How many people go to work to support their family, and then at the end, how much time do they spend with their family? How many people go and do things for their children when their children see them once every 3 weeks? Imagine you could work in the office, you're a lawyer, you're a doctor, you could work day in, day out, and you ask them, well, what are you doing this for? I'm doing this for my family, but your family's not getting what they need. Whenever a person has a choice, he has to think, should I give up this moment for eternity or not? That's the test that we're faced with every single day. Should we look at this? Should we watch this? Should we go here? Should we say this? And when we think about it, of course, like the Mishnah in Pirkei Avot says, that you should weigh the Avirah Keneged the Mitzvah. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to say this? Is it worth it to look here? How many times do we regret not shutting our mouths? Not stopping to talk You have a spider. If you ever saw how a spider catches its prey, catches its meal, something flies into it, into the web, and it waits there, and it struggles, and it tries to get out, and it squirms, and it's making all these different motions. When it's tired, that's when the spider comes, when it's not moving anymore. He doesn't fight it, he waits for it. This is the same thing with the Yetzer Hara. He gives you a test. God gives you a test. And the Yetzer Hara wants you to fail the test. And he does it again and again and again. And then when you're tired, that's when he tries to get you. That's when a person gets depressed. That's when he feels like he's worthless. At those moments, the moments when you get tired, you're restless, you can't do it anymore. I can't push it. I can't fight. I heard something very, very interesting from Rabbi David Elbaz's grandson. Rabbi David Elbaz's grandson, Rabbi Bragg, once said something amazing. He said that Rabbi Miller was in his 90s and he had to get some type of surgery. And he was very nervous. And his grandson never saw him nervous. And he said, well, why? Zaidi, Saba, why are you nervous? And Rabbi Miller says, I just don't want to fight anymore. Every moment's a fight. It's a battle to get up that mountain. And he said, I can't. I just don't want to do it anymore. And this is Rabbi Miller. But when we understand that nisyonot are not tests, they're opportunities. They're opportunities to build our emunah muscles, to build our bitachon muscles. They're opportunities to become the greatest human beings we can be. Then we're going to start enjoying the tests. We're going to start liking them. We're going to await them. When I was coming to Florida this past time, I was driven by a former Brooklyn cop. His name was Kevin. He drives me in his car, and I said, Kevin, were you scared to go out to the force every day? He said, every day. Every day I was afraid. I didn't know if I was going to come home and see my family. Brooklyn's a dangerous place. He said, but something amazing about the force is that we constantly got tested. I said, what do you mean? He said, we would walk on the boardwalk in Brighton Beach. Someone would come to us with a wallet and say, hey, I just found this wallet. I don't know whose it is. I would look inside and I would see there's no info, or there is info, and then it's $200, $300. And he said, I never took the money. So I said, what's the big deal? He said, because it was never someone's lost wallet. It was internal affairs that always used to try to test us and see if we're honest cops or we're not honest cops. He said, imagine I would have taken that $200, I would have lost my pension, I would have lost my retirement, I would have lost everything. So is it worth it? The same thing for us. Is it worth it to do what gives you pleasure for moments? To lose your pension, to lose your retirement, to live out your long life? Of course not. But he said that's what they would do. They strip you of honors. They do everything. You're done. Right now, De Blasio just put on all the cops that had issues in their on the force. You're gonna be one of those people online that he took $200 when he should have given it back. But that's what God does. God's internal affairs, testing us with random people coming over and trying to make us angry or making us jealous, or the Yetzer Hara coming from this way and this person coming from this way, and everything's bombarding on top of you until you say, Hajj, I can't do it anymore. But that's the time when you start building. That's the time when the tests matter. When Abraham Avinu had the tests, they only quoted the 10. Pirkei Avot says that he had 10 tests. He had millions. He had countless tests. But which ones mattered? The ones that were tough, the ones that he had to work on, the ones where he had to take his son and kill him, where he had to jump in the fire. But he had tests before that. He had tests every day. Every day. I had a chavruta in Lakewood. He told me once, he came from the lunchroom, and he said, someone said something amazing in the lunchroom. He said, you never saw Rav Steinman angry, or you never saw Rav Chaim Kanievsky depressed. And I said, I don't even know what that means. That's not amazing. That's like almost apikursut. What, you think they're not human? No, they also have feelings. They can also feel rage or anger or jealousy or whatever it is, but they know how to take that and use it to make them greater, to work on themselves. Because they also have tests. Everyone has it. Just like Avraham Avinu, just like Yitzchak, just like Yaakov. We say in the Amidah every day, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. And they ask, why them? Why are these the three rabbis that we quote? Where's everyone else? Where are all the other rabbis? Why is it Moshe Rabbeinu, Elohei Moshe Rabbeinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yosef? Why only those? Because those had every test possible that we can ever get in our lives. Whether you're poor, whether you're blind, or whether you're using fire, or whether water, whatever the test is, they had it. They went through every test. Chashmonaim came into the Beit HaMikdash. All right, now we're going to Chanukah. They found a jug of oil. They lit it. An amazing thing happened. We learn out of here is not why did it light for 8 days, or how there was only one more. What was the miracle? The miracle was that they had 12.5% of what they needed. So they had 12.5%. Because they took it and they had to go and subtract it to each day until they got the next bottle. So for 8 days, they only had 12.5% of what they needed, and they did it anyways. People say all the time, I can't do it. I can't do it. It just doesn't work. These Hashmonaim, they were missing 87% of what they needed, and they did it anyways. We're here to grow. We're here to fulfill our potential. And when our capacity is just 12% or 12.5%, it's still enough to make a miracle, to bring nachat ruach to Hashem. I heard over something very, very nice about the 7 minim from Eretz Yisrael, the 7 different species of Eretz Yisrael. 5 of them are fruits. You have grapes, olives, dates, figs, and pomegranates. All these fruits have pits. They all have pits. The olive's pit, it's bitter. You spit it out. That's what you do with the olive pit. You don't keep it. The grape, you swallow it. The fig is part of the fruit itself. The date is sweet. So you suck on it and then you spit it out. And the pomegranate, the fruit is the pit. And this amazing Dvar Torah that I heard was that when we're younger, we start off like an olive. Any problem that a person has, he spits it out. Whether I should eat here, whether I should go here, whether I should play basketball, whatever it is, you don't want to deal with it. You take the fruit, then you spit it out. Then you get a little bit older. You get a little bit more mature. And you're up to the date. The date's sweet. It's not bitter like the olive. It's sweet. But still, you can't really handle the issues. You can't handle the problems. You can't handle the tests. So what do? You spit out the pit. Then we get to the grape. You have issues like a grape. You get older, you swallow it. Then brings us to the fig. The fig has something amazing. The pit is the fruit. You understand that the struggles in a person's life is making him stronger, making her stronger every single day. It's the fruit. Then, last and but not least, we have the pomegranate, the rimon. The rimon, the pit is the fruit. You realize at that moment that your struggles are the pits. The struggles is what life is all about. And not only do you welcome it, but you wait for it. You want it. You eat the pits. Because you know this is what's going to make me stronger. This is what's going to make me better. This is what's going to make me have more nachat for my children, for my spouse, for my community, from the Jewish nation, from Hashem. So every test, every problem that comes to a person, he says, okay, now I can get a solution. Now I can figure it out. Now I can work on this. Now I can make myself stronger. Now I can build those muscles that I've never built. When you want to build muscle, you have to first rip the muscle from before. You got to rip it. Once you rip it, once you break it, and then you can make it greater. Then it comes much bigger. It becomes much stronger. The same thing with a person's problems. The same thing with the midbar by the Bnei Israel, that each one went from camp to camp to camp, 42 in total. Why? To build themselves. Each one had a different midah that they could work on. Each place had a different spiritual uplifting that they didn't have before. And it's not easy. It's not easy to go from camp to camp and then sleep out and then put up the Mishkan and take down the Mishkan and all the things that they had to do, but they did it anyway because they knew this is what's going to make us great. Nowadays, I'm young still, but I can still say that the generation, they don't deal with problems anymore. They run away from problems. We don't like problems. We don't like confrontation. Some people, they thrive on it. That's more of the older people. The young people don't like it. We just stay away. We stay out of it. We don't want to deal with it. For shalom, we make up things in our heads. All these different things that we think make a difference to us. All these different things that we try to answer up for the reasons why we do things. Because we don't enjoy it. The reason why the divorce rate is so much higher than it has ever been is because we live in a time where a husband and a wife can't give in. They can't bend. They can't fix their differences. They'd rather just run away from their problems. Me, go to therapy. Her, go to therapy. No, we don't need therapy. Instead, you live a life that's not happy. You live a life of anger, and then it trickles down to the children, which is even worse, and they think this is what a life is supposed to be about, and then the children think, okay, you know what, I can be like this to my spouse. And then if the parents get divorced eventually, then okay, fine, then it's already, it's an inception. Now we can understand it. Yeah, we can also be divorced. It's a fear. We have a fear of problems. It's the same thing as our bucket list. Everyone has a bucket list of things that they want to do, they want to accomplish. I want to finish Kol HaTorah Kula, and this person wants to build a mikveh, and this person wants to learn astrology, and this person wants to build an organization, and there's so many different things we can choose, and everyone has something that they really want to do. But what do? We take it, we put it on the back burner. We don't think about it for a little bit, then we say, me, I can't do it. Her, she, no. It's got to be someone else. Someone else is going to do it. You go to a new city and a school. Me build a school. I can't build a school. God never made me the person to build a school. I'm the guy on the sidelines. I'm in the corner. I don't bother anyone. I just I pay my membership and I'm good. Because we don't want to deal with it. Why should we deal with problems? Why should we deal with more wajaras, more tests on ourselves, more nisyonot when we don't need it? But when we understand that the test is what makes us bigger and greater, we understand that we're meant for so much more than what we're doing, then we take our bucket list that we have all dusty in our attic and we pull it down. We say, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to travel the world. I want to, whatever it is that you want to do, you take it and you take one thing. There's hundreds of things could be on that list. You take one thing and you see it to its end. You see it to its fullest. That's an accomplishment. That's saying, you know what? I had one thing that I really wanted to do. I wanted to finish this Masechet, Berachot. I want to go through Berachot again and again. I want to finish it, that I know every word by heart, so take it and do it. And don't wait for tomorrow, because if you wait, you lose that inspiration. And if you lose that inspiration, you have to build it again, which is much more difficult. The staff of Moshe, it was spiritual and physical at the same time. How so? It was physical because it was a staff. It was a walking stick. It was spiritual because this walking stick could turn into a snake. Now, what's the reason why the snake, the nachash, was what it turned into? Out of everything else, why was it a nachash? And I heard a beautiful answer. The reason why is because the stick is not bad or good. It's whatever you make it. If you take it and pick it up, it can split the Yam Suf. You throw it on the floor, it could turn into a snake. Right? You put it towards God, it's for a good thing. You throw it away from God, then it's not a good thing. It's all the way we perceive things. When we have a dilemma in our lives that we have to do, you take it and then you look at both studim, both sidadim of exactly which path am I going, which path am I choosing, because everything has good and bad in it. The question is, are you lifting it up to Hashem? Are you giving it to Him, or are you throwing it down? Are you saying, you know what, I'm going to run away from this. I'm going to leave it for someone else, and then it turns into a snake. Olive oil comes from olives that are squeezed. When you squeeze an olive, what happens? You get olive oil. When we squeeze olives and we get olive oil, we use it to light. We use it to light up the world. We use it to light up our houses. The same thing with us when we're squeezed. What happens? Do we light up the people around us? Do we fall under the pressure? Do we say, God, I can't do this anymore? Or do we say, okay, I'm ready. If this is what you sent me, this is what I'm going to do. If this is what it's supposed to be, if this is the best thing for me, then I know I have the ability to accomplish it. When a person is squeezed, what do they turn into? Do they turn into something that can light up others? Or do they just crush? On Lag BaOmer, we celebrate the stopping of the Talmidim of Rabbi Akiva, that they stopped dying. And the rabbis asked a question, why are you celebrating that they stopped dying? If in essence that means there was no more students. Is that a good thing? They all died. Why are you celebrating a day that they stopped dying if they can't die anymore? There's no one left. And the rabbis answer, the reason why we're happy and we make a party and we celebrate is not because of the stop of death. Rather, it was that Rabbi Akiva did not give up. And he took another 5 students. He didn't throw in the towel, even though he had every right to throw in the towel. He could have said, God, this is not for me. But he didn't do it. And he took another 5 students, and all the Torah that we have right now, we got from them. He was the connection to the Beit HaMikdash, to before the Beit HaMikdash. From Moshe Rabbeinu all the way down. He connected us through everything. So we're not actually celebrating that they stopped dying. We celebrated that he didn't give up. He was faced with a test, with a daunting task, with a very difficult dilemma in his head of what to do, and he said, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna start again. If this is my lot, if this is my nisayon, this is what I'm gonna do. We live in the world where we all want to be rich, or we all want to be famous, we all want to have kavod, we all want to have power, but you know what, that test is not for you. Your test is to be poor, and your test is not to have the honor, and your test is to be the person that people don't look up to. And now let's see what you do with it. There's a person who I learn with over here in Florida right now. He's in Deal. Hashem Yishmereu. He comes to me one day. He says, you need to pray for me. I'm having a procedure. I have a lymph node in my neck. It could be cancerous, and they have to take it out. I asked him, how long did he have it for? He said, for months. And it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I'm very nervous. And I don't know what to do. So I said, yeah, sure. Give me your name. I'll pray for you on the day by the procedure. And that day, we made sure to say Tehillim. And hour after hour, I'm waiting. I know he was in recovery. He was in surgery. And I get a call. And he says, Rabbi, you don't know what happened. He said, they didn't do the surgery. I said, why not? He said, because they just checked today and it was gone. I said, what does that mean it was gone? He said, it wasn't there anymore. I said, but you had it for months and months. He's like, yeah, for months and months. And I went for x-rays and x-rays and x-rays. And it was there. And all of a sudden I come in and it's not there anymore. And I believe it's the same thing. God was saying, you had emunah. You're strong. But now that I give you something like this and you have to go through a procedure that can be devastating. It could be a cancerous procedure. Are you going to lose your emunah, or are you going to get stronger? And when he saw that he was a person that was still strong, he still trusted, and he said, whatever God does is for the best, and I'm going to take this like a man. Then God said, okay, then I don't need to do it to you anymore. That test doesn't have to be given. Check plus. You got it. Right? And we all have tests. We all have nisyonot. We all write our own books about different things, different problems, different dilemmas, different turbulent times, different trials, tribulations, whatever word you want to use. We all have different problems in our lives that we can write down of how we worked on it, how we went through it. And if we're still going through it. But that's what life is about. Life is the pomegranate, that the pit is what is important. You wait for it. You want to eat it. It's sweet because you know this is going to make you the greatest person you can be. In Parashat Vayigash, the pasuk says, "Kama yemei shnei chayecha." Paro asked Yaakov Avinu, "How old are you? How many years of life have you lived?" He looks very old, Yaakov Avinu. And Yaakov Avinu says, "Yemei megure," the days that I lived. Why did he switch it? Kama yemei shnei chayecha, and he says, "Yemei megure," Yemei chayecha. Why did he switch around the words? And the rabbis tell us, it teaches us, great people don't count days. They count days that they live. Yemei megure, not the days. I don't care about the days that I just went through the motions and I just woke up every day because I'm in my routine. Or the days that I wasn't productive. You want to know how many days I lived? How many days I was productive? Yemei megure. That's the whole important. Those are the words, are the most important words in a person's life. What are the days that you accomplished? And those are the days that you lived. The days that when you had a hard day and you came back home and nothing was going right and you still were strong. You still passed that nisayon. That's a day that a person lives. And that's what Yaakov Avinu was telling Paro. You want to know how many days I lived? Or how many days I was on this earth? Because on this earth doesn't make a difference. We don't count those. There was a big rabbi from 230 years ago. He was an Admor. He was a Rebbe. His name was the Magid from Zlotshov. And he really wanted a nice etrog for Sukkot. That's what he wanted. He just wanted that nice etrog for Sukkot. 2 days before, he said, I will take the Magid Medarovich that was the tefillin that his father left him, and I will sell it to buy an etrog. And he takes this tefillin, he sold it, and he bought the most beautiful etrog in the world. He came home very happy with the etrog, and he tells his wife exactly what happened, and she says, are you crazy? You take something that you wear every day, tefillin, something that's worth so much more money for something you're going to use for one day deoraita, for the first day? That's the craziest thing in the world. She takes the etrog out of anger, she throws it on the floor, pitom cracks. Pasul! You can't use it anymore. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't say anything. He didn't say a word, he didn't get angry. He understood, this was my test. First, my test was to take my tefillin and sell it for an etrog, and now my test is not to get angry at my spouse. And that night his father came to him in a dream and said the angels did not know what to say. The malachim were dumbfounded. They were shocked. They were speechless when you did the mitzvah of selling tefillin to buy the etrog because you really wanted a nice etrog for Sukkot. But when you didn't get angry after that etrog was thrown down by your wife, they went wild. They couldn't be controlled, these malachim. And a bat kol came out, a heavenly voice came and said that you are chayei olam haba. You're a person who deserves and is deserving and will get olam haba. Now imagine he would have gotten angry at that moment. and said, I don't understand. I did something. Whether you think it's stupid or it's not stupid, I did it, and this is what you do. You take it and you ruin it. You just lost everything. I don't have anything now. How can you do something so crazy? How can you do that? But he didn't. He kept quiet, and because of that, he was Chaya Olam Haba. He took his nisayon, right? Because everyone has moments in their life to become, to do the right thing. There's always moments to do the right thing and to better a person. But there are very few times that you have in a person's life where he could become the greatest person he can ever be. It doesn't happen often. I remember Rav Shimshon Pincus once said on his tape that the reason why he became who he was is because he was in a dira, he was in the dorm in Eretz Yisrael, and all the boys left, and he was the one that made himself stay there to clean the dorm spotless. And he said that Pesach was the most inspiring, uplifting Pesach he's ever had. That was that moment. The crux of his life was right there to choose whether I'm supposed to do this or not. That doesn't mean we take the little things and we just throw them away. But there are those few moments when not to get angry at the person's spouse because they threw down the etrog. To be embarrassed in public by a person and to keep quiet. Those are the moments that you can do anything. As we know, Rav Chaim Kanievsky said, at the moment you're embarrassed, you go get a beracha to have a child, a person who isn't able to. Which brings us to the understanding that it's always good to wait and to think about it and to contemplate what we're about to do. Because if that's the moment that you can change everything, then that's the moment you should keep quiet. So you have to think, is this the time where I'm supposed to say something or not say something? And it's always better to keep quiet at those moments so that when it comes to it, they can have a bat kol about you, Chaya Olam Haba, because you kept quiet at the right moment. There's a famous story of a person who left his wife to go on business. He left his wife and young children to go on a business trip many years ago. And he left for 18 years. 18 years he leaves his wife and family. He comes back after 18 years. He had money. He was happy. He looks through the window and he sees his wife is hugging another man. And he was livid and he was angry. And he's like, okay, let me just hold on for a second. Let me calm down. He took a motel for the night. He comes back the next day. His wife sees him. He says, honey, I can't believe you came back. I'm so happy. I missed you so much. And he was angry. He wanted to say something, but he didn't say anything yet. And then she says, you have to see your children now. You have to see how big they have become. And he sees that this young man that was hugging his wife was actually his son. Imagine he would have been angry at that moment. But he waited. He thought. And he passed that test. Every situation a person is in is specifically and especially for that person. Like we said many times, that when you buy a bunk bed or an armoire or a desk or whatever you buy, they always give you the same amount of nuts, bolts, and screws. There's no more, there's no less. You'll never find it, oh, they gave me an extra screw. No, you missed something somewhere. And we all have different furniture. Some people are meant to build palaces, some people are meant to build bookshelves. But we're all meant to do something. And these tests and this emunah that we work on, it's designed specifically for us and especially for us. Like as Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu, like we said from Rabbi Dessler, and the Chafetz Chaim brings it down as well. He says by the burning bush that the place that you are standing is holy. The place that you are standing is kadosh. What did he mean? He meant every predicament a person is in. At that moment, that predicament is holy. That's your test that you have to work on. That's what you have to achieve. That's how you're able to achieve your potential. Right now, this moment that you're in is holy. The Jews went through the 42 stops. And as we said in the pasuk, it says they're going forth according to their journeys. What? Al pi Adonai. Through what God commanded. through what God wanted. And these were their journeys according to their going forth. I believe the reason why it switched is because God had a plan. God wanted to make the Jews go according to His plan, His bidding. That's why it says Al Pi Hashem. But then the words are switched. It's because when a person gets put in the situation, each person now has a different plan. They're in a different world. They're in their own olam. Each stop was important. They changed them. They made each person into who they are, who they are, geared towards the goal that they're supposed to go to, that they're supposed to be at. And as we said, the second pasuk is the opposite. It's reversed. These were their journeys according to their going forth. The people saw the journeys in a different way. They went forth hoping it would be better. It will be what they were looking for. Hoping that my next destination has more to offer. My next destination has something else. And this is how we all live. God puts you and He says, go al pi mi, al pi Hashem, in my way that I'm telling you to go. And then we go and we say, you know what, this isn't working out. Let me change this. If only I had married this woman, or I had these kids, or I had these parents, or I lived in this place. And we all have, or schools, or jobs, or whatever a person could think of. If only I had that, then things would be different. But that's why the pasuk is saying, no. First, it's al pi Hashem. God put you in that situation, and now you want to go according to your path. That's great, but you can't switch what you already have, because that's not what's best for you. That's not my plan. These desert encampments were tailor-made for each and every Jew. And it comes all the way to us in our lives. Each and every Jew has exactly what they're supposed to have, when they're supposed to have it, and that is their test. And the times when you have these tests, you could either shy away, you could get scared, you could go into the corner, or you can take the test like the Rimon and say, okay, this is what I'm waiting for. Like Abraham Avinu, who said, I had tests all my life, but you know what? Now these 10 tests, they're gonna make or break me. These are what's gonna last. These are gonna be written down. If we keep this in mind, and we understand that every nisayon that we're put in is for our best, and we understand that we can pass each one because that's why God gave it to us, and understand that whatever someone else has is not my test because it's not right for me, and to understand that just like the pasuk says that they went, the chatzerot, they went to the courtyard, which is the name of one of the stops, and they understood at that moment, the Khatam Sofer said, that this is just a stopping point for something much greater, for Olam Haba. When we understand that it's all for Olam Haba, then every test that we have is going to be an opportunity, a nisayon. Nisayon is it's a flag, it's a nis. It's saying, okay, we got this. I'm going to raise my banner on high, up high. When we understand that, then we can live a real fruitful life. And we can be zocheh to Yemot HaMashiach b'mhera ve'amenu amen. Shabbat shalom, Rabotai.